Let's say if your fees is 200 euros, you pay 200 euros for that semester or 250 euros and other taxes and all of that and insurance, fees and all of that, then you are really good to go. That's why I really encourage people to apply to the University of Luxembourg. It is far better than going to Canada or the UK where you spend much. And I realized that till date, the population is still 600, 671,000. Despite all the foreigners that are coming in, is still at that level. So they really want people to come in, right? However, you need to come in a legal way. And one of the easiest way is through education, is through studies.
Hello, I hope you are all doing great. Today we have a special guest that is coming to discuss about the admission process at the University of Luxembourg. I personally learned a lot from this interview. So if you're interested in coming to Luxembourg to study, please take a notepad and get ready. Let's go. Hello, Jude.
Hello, Asini.
Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you. I'm really excited. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So, Jude, you are a student at Luxembourg University. You're graduating in a few months.
Yeah, next month, exactly.
Okay. So can you tell us a bit about yourself? Who are you?
Wow.
Where are you coming from?
Okay.
Why Luxembourg?
Wow. Once again, thank you for having me, and I want to appreciate what you're doing. I have been to your channel some time ago, and I saw that you're really blessing lives. That is amazing.
Thank you.
In regards to myself, I'm called Jude Asanji, originally from Cameroon. I'm a student at the University of Luxembourg, studying a master's in entrepreneurship and innovation. And before coming to Luxembourg, I was in Cyprus, precisely North Cyprus, where I pursued an MBA. And then while I was there, I realized that I stayed there for 4 years, and I realized that after that period, what next? And I started doing research. In fact, the research came in because I knew that after the studies there, I was going to live somewhere else. And I wanted a great country where I could start a family because I'm single, right? So while doing my research, I fell on this wonderful country called Luxembourg. And it's a business place. It's an entrepreneurial hub. It's a financial, power in Europe and even in the world. And I said, okay, why not? Yeah. So that's how I got so interested, pursued and applied. And so that's a little about me.
So before coming back to your experience in Luxembourg, I want to stop a bit on Cyprus.
Yeah.
Why Cyprus? I mean, you were in Cameroon, right?
Yeah.
You had your high school diploma.
Yeah.
And then
license as well.
Okay. And then Cyprus. But why? And how did you find out about it?
Okay. So while I was in my final year at my bachelor's level in 2017, I'm somebody who likes to research, always on the internet to do positive things and trying to know what next about my career. I fell upon an advert in regards to talking about universities coming to Cameroon, to like prospect on new students.
The advert was online?
Yeah, it was online. So, and the conference was held at Hilton Hotel Yaoundé, and I went and attended, and I saw that they had a good scholarship, 70% scholarship, right? So we were asked to send our CVs and our transcripts, and after evaluation, we benefited from that 70. In fact, I got 80% because I had very good results at my bachelor's level. So that's how I found myself in Cyprus. And I have to also precise that it's not Cyprus. Cyprus is divided into two. We have the south and the north, and I was in the north. The north is under Turkey, right? Okay. Yeah. So it comes with a lot of challenges, but my scholarship really helped me to bring down the fees, and that's how I found myself in Cyprus.
What did you study?
Okay. An MBA, Master's in Business Administration, and it was a great experience at Cyprus Science University.
Okay, but why then you wanted to move to another country? Work, I can imagine.
Very good questions. Yeah. So since Cyprus is divided into two, the northern part is under Turkey, which means that they use, quote unquote, it's not an independent state, it's not recognized by UNO. So they use the Turkish lira, which is the Turkish currency. Yes. They speak the Turkish language, and they do not have a lot of opportunities, meaning that you have so many immigrants who are there, and the number of opportunities are limited. And even the currency in which you receive your pay is also a kind of not too strong currency. And for many years now, they've been battling between the US and the Turkish currency, making it really down. For example, let me take a concrete example, right? $1 is equal to about 30 or 35 Turkish lira.
Oh, okay.
So you understand, yeah. So it's very small. So, and I wanted something better. Yeah, I wanted something better. I really like the country. Cyprus really gave me a lot of things. However, I wanted to move to a next stage. Yeah. And one of my reasons was to understand where is this next country and how will it profit me and my family that I intend to, to create. So that's how I found myself in Luxembourg.
But how did you heard about Luxembourg? Like on the internet, or did you have someone here?
Okay, initially I heard it from a friend. He applied and he wasn't accepted. Okay. So he was telling me there is a nice country called Luxembourg, and that was in 2021. I said, okay, can you send me the name of the country? He sent the name of the university, and I Googled search, and I began to go through the programs, and I saw entrepreneurship. Given that I have a very strong background in entrepreneurship, and I had already started my startup back in Cameroon, and did some few things that worked and did not work totally well. I said, okay, maybe I should pursue in this. And I got to know about Luxembourg from a friend, and I really got in depth through my own personal research.
Okay, so you sent your application online. You did all the process online.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about it?
Okay, so this is really the crux of the interview, the main points. So yes, everything was done online. And I didn't use any agent, right? So I did it myself. But it was tough. Why is it tough? Why is it challenging? It's simply because the University of Luxembourg is a highly ranked university. They are ranked 250th, right?
In the world.
In the world. So this is so big. For example, just in the UK has more than 3,000 universities. America has about 5,000. So for a university to be ranked 250 means, it
is good.
It is good, right? And it's a young university. They celebrated 20 years last year.
I think I read something like it was created in 2003.
Exactly. Right? So last year, 2023, they celebrated 20 years. So it's a young university, but the government really funded, they really put a lot of money to make it a challenging university, to challenge it with its peers worldwide. And today, they are really a good university. Okay. So everything is done online. So I'm saying this to say that you need to put in a strong application if you want to be selected. You need to really put in a strong application. And for you to do that, you need to go to the website, take your time, be patient.
Exactly.
Read exactly what your program is about. So while going through the website, there are 3 things you should look for. The first thing is how the program matches with your background. It is so important. Because if you studied nursing, and then you want to study banking and finance, it doesn't make sense. So those reviewing your application will want to know what is the link. So that's one thing you need to know. And that only comes when you really read through the program description, which is well stated. So the university is really technologically advanced that the website is so good and there's so much information. And if you're not somebody who likes to read, you might feel bored. So you really need to take your time, and I like the website because it is really well organized. So take your time, read the description. That is the first thing. Trying to understand how it matches with your background and your future goals, what you want to do in the future. 1. 2, look at the fees. Look at the fee. So when I looked at the fee, I was happy. I was like, okay, this is not expensive. Because I saw programs where per semester you can pay 200 euros. Yeah. That is great, right?
But is it all the programs?
No, not all. That's why I saw programs, 200 euros, 300 euros per semester. That is amazing compared to where I was in Cyprus. Per semester we paid 1,500 euros. So at the end of the year, we pay about 3,000 euros, excluding other fees.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is huge. Now, when you look at the program, you look at the language, of instruction of the program. Luxembourg is a multilingual country, meaning that they speak many languages, some of which are Luxembourgish, German, French, and English, right?
And so your master was in English?
Yeah, mine was totally in English. However, other programs are in French and English, French and German, German and English. So you need to look at the language of instruction. Why? Because the program you're going to choose, you will need to tell them that you are good in that language. So you need to show or provide an official, international, recognized, certificate, right? Language certificate.
Yeah.
It could be IELTS, it could be TOEFL. I don't know those in French, but just check. So if you are coming from Nigeria, for example, and you want to apply for a program that is taught in English and French, you need to also show proof that you know French.
Or even if you're coming from an English-speaking country.
Now, if you're coming from an English-speaking country, it depends on the country, right? For example, the University of Luxembourg, before it wasn't the case. If you're coming from US, Canada, of course all those countries, you are exempted. But if you are coming from Nigeria as well, Africa,
because it's Africa.
But right now they are not really too tough. They are not too strict. So if you're coming from Nigeria, it's exempted for Nigerians. But for Cameroonians, since they know that Cameroonians are bilingual, English and French, so they want to know which part of Cameroon you are coming from. So if you are coming from the English part of Cameroon and precisely from the University of Bamenda or Boya, you can just submit a letter saying that your studies were done in English.
Yeah.
So they will accept that, right? So you need to submit a letter to show that your studies were done in English. They are going to accept it. However, the catch is this is a secret, and that's why I really commend you for this, because what I'm giving out, many agents will take money to give people this. However, the secret is that while you are struggling to send a letter saying that your studies were done in English, a Brazilian, a Japanese is already, getting certified in IELTS or TOEFL, and they are sending their, English proficiency, internationally recognized English proficiency certificate. So while you are pleading by writing emails and saying that they should waive the language for you, somebody has applied. So put yourself in that position. Who will they select? They'll select somebody who has done the work, because they really want people who are proactive. Yeah. So if you have the chance, and if you have this knowledge which we are giving you, and if you have the money, just go for that exams. Go for IELTS exam. Go for TOEFL. It will really help you. And lastly, the third thing to look is, we talked about the fees, the language. Yes, the fees. Check the fees. So my program is a bit expensive. Yeah, the first year of the master's program is 5,000 euros, and the second year is 3,000. The reason is because it's a specialized program. It's Masters in Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and we have practical visit in incubators around the country and enterprises where they really, teach us from real enterprise knowledge and experience, right? So it's not just theory. That's why it's a bit expensive. Yeah, but other programs are really cheap, 200 euros, 400 euros. So if you know the language of instruction, if you know the fees, and if you know how it matches your background and your aspirations, then it will really help you in choosing a program.
Okay, so you confirm that we don't need to go to an agent to do that?
Yeah. There's really no need. There's really no need. However, some agents are really good people. Some agents are professional, right? They will guide you. They will tell you what to do, but you can really do it yourself.
So, Jude, I want us to talk a bit about the environment at the university. I can imagine that there are many foreign students. So how do you cope with that?
Talking from experience in my class, normally we're supposed to be about 25, but initially we were just based on those who came, because some people will, they will not finally get enrolled. They might have some financial complications or, administrative complications that will hinder them from coming over, right? So we were in class 21, finally. Like, if you're on a waiting list, they can replace you. But at my time, that was in 2022, 2 years ago, they didn't tell us about the waiting list. So even if there's a waiting list, I think it's just amongst themselves that they know about the waiting list. But, they are really strict and they follow procedures, right? So if classes are starting in October and that the student does not finally come, it's difficult for them to call another student who have to work on the visa. So it's very difficult, right? So I'm saying this to say that we were 21 and I was the only black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we were 2 Africans. The other lady was from Egypt and I was the only black, right? And we had, out of the 21 students, we had 4 Luxembourgish.
Okay, just 4?
Just 4. So it was, people from every country.
All over the world.
Argentinian, Chinese, Japanese, Brazilian, It's just to show you how, international Luxembourg is and the University of Luxembourg. So we had many people from different countries. And what really made that interesting is the fact that people had to share their experiences based on their country, right? And based on the way things are done in their country. So if you are coming from a country where there's a high level of corruption, right, you'll be able to explain entrepreneurship based on what you experience. And we got to learn, from people's experiences, and it was really amazing, And teachers are really professional, It's more of a practical stuff. Yeah, the University of Luxembourg is. Then you have so many centers that really help students. You have the competency center that helps students with their CVs, propose jobs. You have a language center that helps students in learning different languages. So if you come to Luxembourg and that you know nothing about French, you have an avenue to learn French, Italian, Chinese. So it's really great. It's really amazing. Yeah.